All right, welcome back. Special guest Jurgen. We got Jurgen Koni over here. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I'm just, relaxing, chilling. It's a beautiful Sunday. Right now, I'm here for a amazing interview. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I'm usually doing the interviewing or something along these lines, so I appreciate it.
We're collabing the podcast together. You're the host, J&J Sports Radio Show. You did it in Queens, and you're also a freelance writer and podcast for the Off the Ball network.
Yes,
So
sir.
you're combining it. You want to tell everybody
Yeah.
about you and your podcast and what you do?
For sure, for sure. So I do a lot of work with the Off the Ball Network. I haven't been a lot of writing recently because it's been a lot of like changes in my personal life. But I did a good bit of writing when I first joined the network before finally starting up and co-hosting a podcast. I was co-host of the Buns and Bruises podcast as a part of the network. Haven't I'm no longer officially the co-host because of my present situation because I had to move and change a lot of things up. But I have appeared back on the podcast a few times because my co-host there, James, like that's my guy, that's my dude. So I'm always there to like always down for a show with him to support him and everything in regards to that. And with the network, appearing on so many different pods with the guys there is just a fun time. And also separate from the network, I do another podcast I'm a co-host of called the Somewhat Sports podcast. So all sports talk all the time, baby. If big news breaks, I'm appearing somewhere to talk about. I got to get my opinion out, man. You know how it is.
So you went to Queens College
Yep.
2017, 2019, did some stuff. You mentioned the host of J&J Sports Radio, and you're also athletics communication intern. So you're involved in athletics as well.
Yes. So I went to Queens for my undergrad. Started there in 2015. Didn't start for the athletics actually until 2017. And it was really my last 2 years where I started to do a lot more work when it comes to sports media, right? I started writing for the night newspaper at Queens College. I was the sports guy. I was really the only guy writing for sports. So it's like if any topic sports wise came up, I didn't have to worry. It was all for me. Um, but I would later get the chance to write a couple articles like regarding professional sports for the paper, but predominantly with Queens College sports, which really got me into the sports program as a whole. Through there, I met the then SID at Queens, Rick Rossetto, and the internship really began from there. I also had in one of my classes a guy who interned with the athletics. Actually, he had talked to me about it, so everything really worked out that third year at Queens, man, to get me there and to get me to start interning. And my last year there, I started to, as part of the newspaper club, also start to meet people in the broadcasting club, and agreed like they wanted to do more. So I got one of my close friends who was a genius at sports. He was my guy Joss, and we started our J&J Sports Show at the college radio network. We did that for our last year there, a little bit after as well. It was super cool because I was working for the athletics then, so I was still going to the campus, and a lot of the people were still there, and they were super chill with me and Josh because Josh was finishing his degree actually. So they're like, "Yeah, you guys can come on and keep on going." So we're like, "Yeah, let's take advantage. Let's have some fun. Let's do some more shows." And that was really the base for where I'm at now because after I graduated in 2019, I after that following summer is when I started working for the athletics as their communications assistant slash video coordinator. You could call it after I interned for them, and I worked up until the pandemic first hit, and then I returned back in the spring of 2021. Their spring sports came back, so I helped in the spring for the new SID, and then after spring ended, summer, and came back there before start my new position.
You have like a favorite team you covered in Queens College? It's like, oh, this is my team. I like doing this sport.
um, I would probably either say the men's soccer team or the men's basketball team. Men's soccer was the first was related to two of the first ever articles I wrote for the school paper. I had written a player profile and I did a game recap for one of their games. And I believe I hope my timeline's not messed up because it's been a little bit. I apologize, but I want to say it was the first season under Queen's new head coach then, and to get to cover the team first season with the coach, like it got me excited. I'm like, yeah, I like this. Like this is a story that I can go after. And then the basketball team formed a really cool connection with the basketball coaching staff. I was really cool with those guys. And I also eventually, starting with the internship and also when I worked for the school, I got to, for the athletics, I got to do commentary for the men's basketball game. So that I would probably give basketball the edge, because also getting to talk during the games, to give either play-by-play or color analysis based off like what my role had to be that night, sometimes both. That was a whole lot of fun. So if I had to favor one over the other, I'd say men's basketball.
Yeah, that was great. Especially the PA announcer, playing point guard Jurgen Koni, number
Oh,
12.
well, I was never good enough to play, but getting to break down how the guys play, that's to me next best thing, and actually for me the best thing, because just man, I've loved sports for so long, just like you. Like we're sports guys, George. We're sports guys, and to be able to just talk sports and break it down and like talk about it live as well. Because when I interned and did it, like that was my first time actually doing play by play. So for me, I was like, oh, this is such a learning experience, like getting used to everything. Took a little bit of time. Nowhere near perfect. No one's ever perfect. You're still finding ways to get better. But I just keep at it whenever I got the chances, and it was a super fun time.
Play is awesome. Like it's always a great experience. And also, a lot of work comes into like preparation. Like watch the Michael K show, and Don's like, I know these players, what number they are. I'm surprised you did that too. Like, what's the other team? What's their number? What position? You have to all go in there just in case you make a mistake or anything. You always got to be prepared.
Absolutely. You have to do your due diligence. Like whether it's hosting a show or getting ready to do a game, you have to do your due diligence. You need to, make sure you have all the notes that you need. For me personally, like I would just go the last couple games for a team, have the season overall, but like last couple games, how are they trending? Who's doing what? Who's performing well recently? And you kind of try to craft the story of the game based off of that. If we were facing a really good team, Queens at the D2 level, they face some good schools. I want to see who's performing well on these really good teams, and how are we going to face them tonight?
Sure. So how's it? You were also the video coordinator, 2019, 2020. How was
Yeah,
that?
it was fun. So in addition to helping with the games, I was also our video coordinator slash editor, which really it was the weekly recap that Queens College has been producing for a while. I've been editing it. Uh, I would take the games, look through the games, pick out the best highlights I could from however many games we had on the week, make a little montage of it. Some are longer than others as the sports continue. Editing as well. Like I started to learn more about that my last couple of years at Queens. And with the job, it just let me continue to grow as an editor, both skill wise and also thinking wise, because there's a lot of like thinking that has to go into editing. You need to make decisions on what to keep in and what to keep out, especially with like highlight videos, right? And as I did the weekly recap, I really started to get better at getting a feel eventually for what highlights to keep in, what highlights to just ignore, cutting it up, making sure that it was like, some of them are kind of long, but I tried to make sure they were as quick as can be so people would see the best of the teams, but it wouldn't take too much.
And after that, after school, you're also a freelance writer, a podcast for Off the Ball Network. Still doing that right now. How's that?
It's awesome. The Off the Ball Network is an amazing group of guys that I get to work with. A bunch of dudes who are very passionate about sports, that love talking and writing sports. We have a bunch of different podcasts under the network. The Off the Ball podcast with Chris LeBron, the Up in Flames podcast with our guy Mo. Those are just two of the number of amazing podcasts. Like I said, Bunts and Bruises that I was a consistent part of and still am, in the shadows, low key. Working at the network with all those guys is amazing. And my own podcast that I do, Somewhat Sports, with my two guys, Chris and Dame, like just it's a whole team, it's a whole squad. Like I just love working with amazing people, man. And I'm very blessed to work with such talented and smart people, because that just makes the pods better overall.
Links in the description. Make sure you go check out Mr. Koni's podcast. Very good podcast. I'm a big Nets fan, so Harden got traded. It was really disappointing for me. What do you think about the Harden trade?
Oh man, I think it was good for both sides. I think Philly got the superstar they wanted to take advantage of Joel Embiid's championship window. I think we don't really realize. I think like LeBron, Brady, and Aaron Rodgers have kind of distorted the math here on great all-time athletes. Like Joel Embiid has a window of being an MVP candidate. You need to take advantage of that if you're Philly. And Philly was like, and Ben Simmons was not going to play for them anymore. So they're like, we need to get the guy to help us out here. And it was James Harden, and they got that deal. And I think for Brooklyn at the same time, like I think Ben Simmons works really well as a fit with KD and Kyrie. He doesn't need to have the ball like with offense to attack. Like, I mean, he should be attacking, but in terms of playmaking and helping move the ball around, I think he'll be great. And the defense, like his perimeter defense is one of, if not the best in the league, right? Like he was a defensive player of the year candidate last season. And in some people's minds probably should have won defensive player of the year, all things considered. So I think at the end of the day, I think it's a definition of a win-win deal. Both sides needed the skill sets of the main players they acquired in that trade. So I think it was a win-win.
Sure, it's unfortunate. 4 first-round picks or whatever it is. And that's give way for James Harden. Jared Allen's killing it right now. And Karis LeVert, I'm like, oh man, did that all for nothing just to lose to the Bucks in the second round. Come on.
If only they were healthy, man. If only they were healthy.
All right, you work at ESPN now, ESPN production assistant. How's that?
It's fun, man. Working as a PA, it's super exciting. Like ESPN is a goal that a lot of people strive to achieve, and I applied a number of times before getting it, and I'm here now, and it's just it's cool. Like straight up, just getting to see everything from the other side, like behind the camera, what goes into it, the work that's put in, how many people work hard to help make the production at all levels. Like it's just super unique and super fun, and to be a part of that, I think it's really cool. So that's I feel like I've said the word a lot, but like that's how I describe it. Like just to see everything, it shows everything in a new light, man.
For sure. What do you do there exactly? Like take like day by day. Like if you
no, I get what you mean. My bad. I cut video. I predominantly as a production assistant, whatever show you're assigned to, you go based off of there. So for me personally, I cut a good chunk of videos on a daily basis when I'm at work for Sports Center. So making like little 15-20 second videos predominantly is what I've done so far. Worked a little bit with some sound, so it, as a production assistant, I think a lot of people, like if anyone watching this is getting into media or like has gotten into media and knows what it's like being a PA, you take what's given to you. You can pitch ideas, of course. They welcome it anywhere in a creative space. They welcome you to, like, if you have an idea, let the people above you know. But yeah, it's predominantly doing whatever role you're assigned. And my role currently now is a lot of video cutting and, placing clips and putting them in and stuff like that.
That's what I do. So I know it's a lot of work. I give you props.
Hey, we hard workers out here, man. Like video editing, it's a little tough. Like I'm not a master at it by any stretch. I think I'm good at it. I wouldn't call myself a master, but it's something to worth. Like if you are in the media field, like it's not bad to get to know at least the basics. And if you get better at it, you get better. If it could help you, get an opportunity, like just keep getting better. Like that's all media is about, So if anyone's interested in it, like for sure, like look into how you can get into the basics of video editing.
All right, you just start with the quick fire, but I'm gonna change up here. Start off with the trivia question.
Okay.
Ready?
Let's do it.
All right, there was a famous NBA player that at camp at Queens College for a day, and I was at it. Back in 2014. You know what player that was?
I've definitely heard about that camp. It was before I went to Queens, but I definitely had heard about it from someone. I don't want to take too long here, so I'm going to try my best to guess this really quick.
A hint or no?
Yeah, give me the hint.
He's Greek.
He's Greek. Oh, wait, hold on. No, it can't. It's not Giannis. No.
Yeah, it is. Giannis.
Really? He was in 2014. Oh my god, I didn't know. Oh my god, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, it was at the camp. Just when he was a rookie, he signed everything for me: basketball, picture.
Oh, that's awesome.
Jersey, everything. Great guy.
That's awesome, dude.
I see him Greek. He always says what's up to me when the Nets play the Bucks. So it's always a good time.
That's dope, man. That's honestly awesome. Giannis, it makes sense now. Giannis is just one of like the coolest and humblest people in the world. So like he 1000% would do that. Like that's super cool.
Quick fire questions.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
Favorite cereal.
Favorite cereal. I'm a simple man. Honey Nut Cheerios. It's simple. It's healthy for you. Come on.
Favorite ice cream. What would you put on it?
Favorite ice cream.
Yeah.
Ooh, scoop of vanilla, scoop of chocolate. Definitely, I'm a kid, so sprinkles. Like I'm a kid at heart, so definitely, definitely some sprinkles. I wouldn't mind a little bit of like syrup, fudge, whatever. Like I'm not against it. I'm not the type to put a cherry on top. I don't know why. I just like that's not my thing. But so no
Must.
no cherry on top. I'm not denying it. I'm just saying like I never personally like it's not a make or break for me. But I mean, put the cherry, sure. Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say that's about it.
Favorite athlete of all time.
My favorite athlete of all time, Dwayne Wade. Like that dude, I watched pretty young. Like he was one of the guys that really got me into the sport of basketball, sports in general. Basketball was the first sport I really watched a lot, and Dwayne Wade was a massive part of that. So D Wade 1000% is my favorite athlete of all time.
Man, so you one of those Miami Heat bandwagon fans? Is that
Nah,
you?
man. Before. I sat through that 15 and 67 season, and we had to get Michael Beasley, man. And I had to watch Michael Beasley for 2 years. I earned those championships into the 2010s.
My favorite team of all time.
Favorite team? I mean, I kind of just said it with the Heat, but I'll go with a different team. I will say for hockey, the Chicago Blackhawks are my team. The 2010s was an amazing time to be a fan. Like again, the Heat got me into basketball. Dwayne got me into basketball. Chicago got me into hockey when I was growing up. So like I give my loyalties to the teams that made me love the sport. And Chicago, 3 cups in 6 years. That was a phenomenal thing to be a part of. A lot rougher nowadays, as anyone that follows hockey can attest to. It's hard being a Blackhawk fan sometimes these days, but like that team, if aside from the Heat and like my peak sports fan years, which is like essentially my high school years, because like that's the time where I literally ride or die every single day emotionally with my teams. It was Chicago, man, and just getting to root for championship teams. It's just like the greatest thing.
So you're all over the place. Blackhawks, Heat. What other teams do you like?
No others actually. Funny enough, like I don't have a team for football or baseball. I like some of my friends find it weird, but it's like when I was a teenager, I was so emotionally invested in the other two, and like I was just like, I cannot commit this much time to cheering for other teams. So football, baseball, I'm a fan of players. Like each year when I see a new team win the title, it's like, hey, good for them, good for those players. Like Joe Burrow this year, Matt, like I've become like everyone a massive fan of him. Like I'm not going to say I'm a Bengals fan, but I am a Joe Burrow fan. Like if he's on TV, I'll sit down and watch because that dude, like he has it, like they're just some guys that have it. And that's what I try to look for in baseball and football.
And since you don't have a team, you should be like me. You should come to the dark side and become my teams. Yankees and the Giants. You have a Yankees and Giants fan. That would be good.
Hey, I mean, if I had to be, I probably would have been just because my sister's a Yankees fan and she's a Steelers fan, but she doesn't mind rooting for the Giants, like if she has to root for a New York team. So if I had committed, it probably would be those teams, funny enough.
Queens. I'm surprised. I'm saying he's not a Mets fan.
Nah, man. Mets are. So if we have time, I have like a funny little story about the Mets actually.
You can go
Um,
ahead. Yeah.
so when I was in third and fifth grade, or maybe in fourth and fifth grade, I forget if it was back-to-back years or in two separate years, like separated a little bit. Uh, I was part of a class field trip to Mets 2 times. First time was just a tour of Shea Stadium back in the day. That's how long ago it was. It was Shea Stadium when we went for that stadium tour. And I think it was my third grade class. It was super cool. We got to be there, meet Mr. Met, which was like super fun. I think one of the players was there that day. I forget. I'm so young, so I forget who, but one of the players was there and like said hi to us. We got to like eat in their cafeteria. It was awesome. And then in fifth grade for a day, like the top grade kids in my fifth grade class got to go to a Mets game, and it was a Mets Nationals, and the Mets lost 1-0, and they let up that run in the final inning. So like I
Yeah.
think from there I was just like, yeah, no, I don't want to be a Mets fan. This seems really painful. And all these years later, like 10-year-old me was right.
Yeah. They're pretty good now. I think they're gonna win the World Series for sure. They're a great
they're
team.
they're they're getting better. Like the Mets have some some pieces. I know they collapsed this past year, but I think they have some pieces. They just need to find a way to get it together, man. So right now, I technically only have one option because I'm really only watching one show right now because I'm not that big of a show watcher. But I've gotten into Demon Slayer here recently. I know that's like a pretty popular thing. So Demon Slayer is what I'm into now. All time, if I had to say all time, probably Scrubs. Like Scrubs is just a phenomenal show. One of my friends back in from Queens actually, he recommended it to me. I was kind of iffy at first, but I was like, you know what? Let me give it a chance. I loved it. I don't think anyone will regret, especially if you actually are like a medical student. Like that shows from what my friends have told me that know medicine, it's very accurate to how real life can go. So that made it even like more genuine, I feel.
Since you're from Queens, I gotta ask you a Queens question.
Of course.
You go to Astoria a lot? That's where the Greeks are. You ever had a nice gyro in Astoria before?
I have. So Astoria, I when the pandemic first was like things were slowly starting to ease down. I actually did work in Astoria for a little bit, not for like a sports related job or anything, just like to work again. And it was definitely before work because like after work I would just go straight home. But before work I was in the area because I had to go to the doctor before. So I was like, damn, I need some food, man. And there was a gyro place, so I went there, got it, bro. So good. If anyone listens to this, if you in NYC, like, I mean, I feel like everyone needs to get a gyro if you live in NYC, but Astoria especially, just beautiful, bro.
Sure. What's the place? You gotta shout it out.
Uh, Dude, my memory is so bad. I can't tell you. It was just like it was a place. I'm trying to remember. See, I block out all my old jobs, so I can't even tell you the street. It was near. I feel so bad. I feel so bad right now that I can't remember. And shout out the place, but it was relatively near my job. I got it. It was like 25 minute walk away, and just I was, it was so good. My memory is gone from that day. That's why. So the food is so good. That's how you know you got good food.
You know what the best one is? The one with the truck, the King Souvlaki. It's called King Souvlaki. They have it in the gyro comes in the truck.
Well, I didn't get it from there, but if I'm back in NYC visiting, if I gotta head to Astoria, that's on my radar now. We out
Gotta
here,
go
bro.
there. King Souvlaki. It's the best.
I have to.
Favorite movie?
I mean, people are gonna call me biased, but I don't care. Spider-Man: No Way Home, man. Like that movie, just genuinely, it's phenomenal. Like I only recently got into Marvel during the pandemic. Actually, I was like, you know what? Let me sit down and watch these movies, and loved them. And Spider-Man: No Way Home, I just think is a really good. Like, I'm not saying it's perfect. I don't think anything is perfect, but it's a really good movie that I think if you are a Spider-Man fan, if you are a Marvel fan in general, like, and a superhero film fan in general, like, it's just a movie to watch. Like, and I want to watch it again. I'm willing to go to a theater, pay money to see it again. That's how good a movie is, man. Like, if you're willing to pay to go see it again, that's how you know that the movie has hooked you. Come
Yeah,
on now.
man. It was really good for sure. Highly recommend everybody watching it. All right. Coffee or tea in the morning?
This might be the most controversial one yet. Neither. I don't need coffee or tea in the morning, man. And I get up pretty early for work. Um, I don't need either. I just get up, I eat, and I just get like I head to work. Like it's really weird. Even I don't understand my body sometimes, but I don't need coffee or tea to get me going in the morning. It's weird. It it's really weird. Someone's gonna comment about it. It's like is this due to machine? No, it's just different, man. That's all I can tell you.
Don't worry. I had Brandon Steiner on my show, and he said only drinks water in the morning, so you're not the only one. I got you. We'll wrap it off with everyone's favorite question. Are you ready?
Okay, let's go.
All right. Who's your celebrity crush?
Oh my god, I love it. I love it. I say right now, probably Haley Steinfeld. Like I feel like it's for a lot of people because again, I getting into Marvel. Obviously, that's not all she's done, but like for me specifically, like I watched the Marvel movies and I watched the TV series and Hawkeye. She was really good in Hawkeye, and she was also in like Into the Spider Verse. She just does amazing work in general. Like I don't think I don't. She's a good actress, man. Like I don't know what else to say. Like the art of acting, like she's good at it. She plays her characters really well for whatever role she's given, and she's a beauty to boot. So so she'd be like my number one right now.
Yeah, for sure. All right. I'm going to wrap it off with any final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Hey, bro, thank you for inviting me on. First off, this was a fun time. I hope I lived up to the expectations. You've had some like real people here. I feel like I don't know if I'm a downgrade to the show. I don't know, but it's like you've had some great guests from the episodes I've gone into recently. So everyone that is listening to this right now, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to this man and the amazing work that is happening, with all these shows, with all the interviews. You've had some real ones on recently. The fact that you've included me on that list, I'm grateful. I'm honored. Do I deserve it? Who knows? But I'm taking it anyways. And just, hey, thank you again for having me on, bro. Straight up.
Mr. Koni, you're the man. Of course, gotta have you on. Of course, you had to come on the show. It was a win-win situation, you know. It's always good to come on the show.
For sure. Love to see it. Love to see W's all around. It's just straight W's everywhere.
Yeah. Since you watched, what's your favorite episode that you watched?
Oh my God. Oh, Graham Wilson. He was like of the ones I've listened to so far, Graham Wilson was the one where I was just like, you know what? It's a whole vibe right now. Like Graham Wilson was like an awesome listen. I also, because you guys talked a little bit about the Spurs Heat series there, and he had a little bit of joy there. So I was like, so this is my chance to say we beat y'all the year before. There it is. It was like you guys, like that part had me dying in that episode, bro. So the Graham Wilson episode so far is my favorite. I'm not gonna say that this one is my favorite just because I'm not gonna put myself up there that much. Like I can't be that self-involved. But straight up, you do amazing work on this podcast, brother. Like as someone who's done multiple podcasts at this point, like keep it going. You're going strong, man. Like you're just you keep on going, have these amazing guests and do your thing. And I hope the people reciprocate it because you're doing some good work here.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. You do some great work too. So like and subscribe to my man Jurgen's podcast here. So make sure you check that out. Where could people find you? Got any social media or anything?
Yeah, so it's at JurgK40, so JURGK and 40 on Instagram and Twitter. And from there, I always share the stuff that I do, like the Somewhat Sports podcast is somewhat.sports on IG and Bunts and Bruises on Twitter for Bunts and Bruises. Like I said, at BNB, I may not be the constant co-host anymore, but I'm going to show up there as much as I can. Somewhat Sports, I'm there just about every week, except one recently I actually took off. Load management is being the boys joke, but I was actually a bit like I wasn't be able to record that week specifically. So that's why I was out. So that's where you could find me in the pods and the amazing people I work with. You'll be able to learn about them through there. And all I do, like I said before, all I do is work with smart people. All I do is work with amazing people. And that's one of the reasons why I had to come on this show, because the man interviewing me here is a genius and he's a hard worker. So like it works all around. It continues my streak of working with amazing people.
Thank you, man. You're a great person too. Hopefully stay in touch and see you in a splash.